Admiral Zexkar stood tall on the bridge of his mighty warship. The ship was called the Crimson Dominion, and it was the largest vessel in the Zirathi fleet. Red lights glowed along its dark metal walls. The alien commander looked out at the stars through the main window. His forearms moved quickly as he checked the battle reports on his screen. "Sir, we have destroyed another human world," said Lieutenant Vextai. The young officer's voice carried pride. His scaled skin shimmered under the bridge lights. "The colony called New Haven is now ash. Their cities burned in just 3 hours." Zexkar's mouth parts clicked together. This was how his people showed. They were happy. The humans were so weak, so easy to defeat. In 3,000 years, the Zirathi Empire had never lost a war. They ruled most of the galaxy with their powerful friends, the Vorthik and the Kelrani. Together, they were the Coalition. No one could stand against them. "How many human ships did we destroy?" Zexkar asked. 47, sir. Most were small cargo ships trying to save the people on the planet. They had no real weapons. Their guns could not even scratch our shields. The admiral walked to his command chair. It was made from the bones of creatures from a dozen conquered worlds. Each victory added another piece to his throne. Soon he would add human bones to it. On the planet below, fires still burned in the empty cities. The humans had built their homes from simple materials, wood and steel and glass. Nothing that could survive the Coalition's plasma cannons. The aliens had given no warning before they attacked. They never did. Warnings were for equals, and the Coalition had no equals. Captain Jake Morrison sat in his small ship, the Wanderer. Around him, 20 other human vessels floated in space. They had saved as many people as they could from New Haven, families with children, old people who could barely walk, workers who had spent their whole lives building that colony. "Captain, they're not letting us leave," said his co-pilot, Susan Gray. Her hands shook as she spoke. "3 of their big ships are blocking our path." Morrison looked at his screen. The alien vessels were huge. Each one was 10 times bigger than his cargo ship. Their red hulls gleamed like fresh blood. Weapon ports covered their sides like the eyes of some giant spider. "This is Captain Morrison of the human ship Wanderer," he said into his radio. "We have only civilians aboard. Women and children and old people. Please let us pass." The answer came back in the clicking, hissing language of the Zirathi. Then the computer translated it into human words. "You will surrender now. Any ship that tries to run will be destroyed." Morrison closed his eyes. He had been a cargo captain for 15 years. He had never been in a real fight. His ship had no weapons, no shields, no armor. It was built to carry food and supplies between the colonies, not to fight wars. "Send a message to Earth Command," he told Susan. "Tell them what happened here. Tell them the aliens are coming." Admiral Zexkar watched the human ships on his battle screen. 21 small vessels filled with scared people. He could destroy them all with one shot from his main guns. But that would be too quick, too easy. He wanted the humans to understand their place in the galaxy. "Open a channel to the human captain," he ordered. Morrison's face appeared on the main screen. He was young for a ship captain, maybe 30 years old. His skin was pale, and his eyes were wide with fear. Sweat ran down his face. The admiral had seen that look before on the faces of 100 different species. It was the look of creatures who knew they were about to die. "Human," Zexkar said, "your people have entered space that belongs to the Coalition. You have built colonies on worlds that are not yours. This is your punishment." "We didn't know," Morrison said. "No one told us these worlds belonged to anyone. We found them empty. We thought they were free to settle." Zexkar's mandibles clicked faster. The human actually thought this mattered. as if the coalition needed permission to take what they wanted, as if these weak creatures had any rights at all. Space does not belong to those who find it first, the Admiral explained. It belongs to those who are strong enough to hold it. Your people are not strong. You will learn this truth. The coalition had learned this lesson well over the centuries. They had fought the Vorthik Empire 2,000 years ago. That war had lasted 50 years and killed billions on both sides. In the end, they had joined together instead of destroying each other. The Kelrani had tried to resist when the coalition came to their worlds. They had lasted 3 months. Every species learned. The same lesson in the end. The strong ruled. The weak served or died. It was the oldest law in the galaxy. Please, Morrison said, at least let the children go. They did nothing wrong. Your children will serve the coalition, Zexkar replied. The smart ones will learn our ways. The others will work in our mines and factories. This is mercy. We could kill them all. Morrison's hands clenched into fists. For a moment, Zexkar thought the human might try something foolish. Some species fought even when they knew they could not win. It was stupid, but the Admiral respected it. Courage was useful, even in slaves, but Morrison did not fight. He knew it would only get his people killed faster. We surrender, he said quietly. Please don't hurt them. The Admiral turned to his weapons officer. Disable their engines. Board their ships. Take the young ones for training. Kill anyone who resists. As his soldiers prepared to board the human vessels, Zexkar thought about the larger war. Earth was the humans' home world. Intelligence reports said it had only 50 military ships. Most were small patrol craft or cargo haulers, like Morrison's ship. None had real weapons or strong shields. The coalition fleet had 800 warships. Battleships with guns that could crack moons. Cruisers with shields that could stop any known weapon. Fighters that moved faster than light itself. They had conquered 47 different species across the galaxy. Each one had fallen within months of first contact. The humans would be no different. They had courage. The Admiral would give them that. Morrison's refusal to abandon his people showed honor. But honor meant nothing against superior firepower. Courage could not stop plasma cannons or gravity bombs. Sir, Lieutenant Vextai reported, the boarding is complete. We captured 3,847 humans. No casualties among our forces. The humans did not resist once their captain surrendered. Good. Set course for their next colony world. Send word to the fleet. We advance in 6 hours. Zexkar looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, the human home world waited. Earth, a small blue planet with one moon. The intelligence reports said it had large cities and billions of people. It would burn beautifully when the coalition arrived. The humans had spread far. Across this part of the galaxy in just 200 years. They were quick to explore and quick to build. But they were slow to learn the most important lesson of all. In space, only the strong survived. Soon they would understand. The coalition would teach them as they had taught so many others before. And when Earth was ash and its people were slaves, the galaxy would be peaceful again under coalition rule. The Admiral smiled as his ship turned toward the next human world. This war would be over before the next solar cycle. The humans would learn to fear the red ships of the Zirithi Empire. Just as every other species had learned that, it was almost too easy. General Frank Hayes walked back and forth in the war room deep under the Pentagon. The room had no windows. Thick concrete walls kept it safe from any attack. Red lights blinked on the walls as computers worked day and night. The air smelled of coffee and fear. On the big table in the center of the room, a blue hologram showed the galaxy. Red dots marked where the alien fleet was moving. Each red dot meant death for human colonies. In 6 weeks, 12 worlds had fallen. Millions of people were dead or captured. "Sir, we just lost contact with the Harmony colony," said Colonel Lisa Park. She stood at attention, but her voice was tired. She had not slept in 3 days. None of them had. The aliens hit them 4 hours ago. No survivors. Hayes stopped walking. He put his hands on the table and stared at the hologram. Each lost colony was like a knife in his heart. These were not just dots on a map. They were real places where real people had lived. Farmers and teachers and children. All gone now. "What about our fleet?" he asked. "Admiral Jones tried to fight them at the Kepler system," Park said. "We lost 8 destroyers and 2 cruisers. The alien ships barely got scratched. Our weapons just bounce off their shields." Hayes had been a soldier for 30 years. He had fought in wars on Earth. He had seen good men die, but this was different. This was not a war between humans. This was something much worse. The aliens were stronger than anything humanity had ever faced. "Sir," Park said quietly, "there is one option left." Hayes looked at her. "Project Goliath?" "Yes, sir. The ship is ready. We could launch it tomorrow." Project Goliath? Hayes had not wanted to use it. The project had cost more money than anything in human history. They had built it in secret shipyards beyond Neptune, where no one could see. Even now, most people on Earth did not know it existed. "Are you sure it will work?" Hayes asked. "The scientists say yes," Park replied. "But we have never tested it in real combat. The weapon systems are completely new. No one knows if they will work against alien technology." Hayes closed his eyes. If Project Goliath failed, Earth would have nothing left. No fleet, no defenses, no hope. But if they did nothing, the aliens would reach Earth in 2 weeks, and then it would all be over anyway. "Send the order," he said. "Launch Project Goliath." Captain Sam Roberts was eating lunch in his small cabin when the message came. He was aboard the cargo ship Mercury's Edge, carrying supplies to the Mars colonies. It was boring work, but it was honest work. He had been a military pilot once, but that was years ago. The message was marked top secret. Roberts had to put his thumb on a scanner to read it. When he did, his coffee cup fell from his hand. "Report to Titan shipyards immediately. Prepare for deployment aboard USS Titan's Hammer. Classification: beyond top secret." Roberts had never heard of the Titan's Hammer. He had never heard of Titan shipyards either. But the message was real. It had all the right codes. This was not a joke. He changed course immediately. The Mercuries. Edge turned toward Saturn and its moons. The journey took 3 days. Roberts spent the time wondering what he was getting into. Why would they need him? He was just a cargo pilot now. He flew supplies, not warships. When he arrived at Titan, Roberts could not believe what he saw. Hidden behind the giant moon was a shipyard bigger than any human structure ever built. Huge metal arms reached out from the moon's surface. Work lights glowed in the darkness. And docked at the center of it all was a ship that made him stop. Breathing, the Titan's Hammer was enormous. It stretched over 2 kilometers from front to back. Its hull was black as space itself. Weapon ports covered its surface like the scales of some giant snake. Power cores glowed blue along its sides. It looked like something from a dream or a nightmare. Chief Engineer Amy Watson met Roberts at the airlock. She was a small woman with gray hair and tired eyes. But when she looked at the ship, her eyes lit up like a child's. "Captain Roberts," she said, "welcome to the future of human space warfare." "What is this thing?" Roberts asked. "This is what happens when you give Earth's best scientists unlimited money and 5 years to work," Watson replied. "We call her the Titan's Hammer. She's not like anything we've ever built before. Watson led him through the ship's corridors. They were wide enough for 10 people to walk side by side. The walls were made of some new metal that seemed to glow with its own light. The air hummed with power from engines Roberts had never seen before. The fusion cores alone could power half of Earth, Watson explained. But that's not even the best part. Wait until you see the weapons. They stopped at a window that looked out into space. Roberts could see other ships docked at the shipyard, but they were all tiny compared to the Titan's hammer. Even Earth's biggest battleships looked like toys next to this monster. How many people does it take to run this thing? Roberts asked. 3,000, Watson said. The best and brightest humanity has to offer. Scientists, engineers, fighters, tacticians. We've been training them for 2 years. Roberts felt scared and excited at the same time. This ship was incredible, but why was he here? What do you need me for? I'm just a cargo pilot. Watson smiled. Captain, you're the best pilot in the human fleet. You just don't know it yet. The computers analyzed every pilot's record. Your reflexes, your decision-making, your ability to stay calm under pressure. You scored higher than anyone else. But I haven't flown a warship in years. This isn't a warship, Watson said. Not like anything you've ever seen. This is something completely new. And we need someone who can think outside the box to command it. Admiral Patricia Stone called all 3,000 crew members to the main hangar. The hangar was so big, it could hold a dozen regular spaceships. The crew stood in neat rows, waiting to hear why they were here. Stone was a tall woman with silver hair and sharp eyes. She had commanded Earth's fleet for 10 years. She had seen the reports from the lost colonies. She knew what was coming. Soldiers. She began. The alien coalition thinks we are weak. They think we are primitives who can be crushed easily. They have destroyed 12 of our worlds. They have killed millions of our people. They believe we have no hope. The hangar was completely quiet. 3,000 people held their breath. They are wrong, Stone continued. They have never faced human determination. They have never seen what we can do when our backs are against the wall. They have never experienced human innovation when our survival is at stake. She pointed to the walls around them. This ship represents 5 years of the best human science. We have created weapons that should not be possible. We have built defenses that break the laws of physics. We have made something that will change the galaxy forever. Roberts looked around at the other crew members. They were young and old, men and women from every part of Earth, scientists with thick glasses, soldiers with hard faces, engineers with oil-stained hands, all of them ready to fight for their home. The coalition has 800 ships, Stone said. We have one. But sometimes one is enough. Sometimes one ship with the right people and the right weapons can change everything. She paused, letting her words sink in. Today, we show the galaxy what humanity is really capable of. Today, we prove that Earth's children will not go quietly into the night. Today, we take the fight to them. The crew cheered. 3,000 voices echoed through the hangar. Roberts felt his heart beating faster. This was it. This was humanity's last chance. All hands, prepare for launch, Stone ordered. Destination. Sol system. The aliens are coming to Earth. Let's give them a welcome they will never forget. The Titan's hammer began to move. Its engines lit up the darkness around Saturn. Power flowed through its hull like blood through veins. Weapon systems came online. Shields activated. The ship that was supposed to be impossible prepared for a battle that would decide the fate of humanity. Roberts took his place on the bridge. Through the main window, he could see the stars waiting. Somewhere out there, 800 alien ships were heading for Earth. They thought they were coming to finish an easy war. They had no idea what was coming for them. The coalition fleet moved through space like a red tide of death. 800 ships spread across the darkness, their hulls glowing with weapon energy. Admiral Zexkar stood on the bridge of the Crimson Dominion, watching the tactical display with deep satisfaction. In 2 days, they would reach the human home system. In 3 days, Earth would be ash. "Sir, we are detecting the edge of their solar system," reported Navigation Officer Kex Ron. His scaled fingers danced over the control panel. Long range. Sensors show their defensive fleet gathering near their 4th planet. Zexkar clicked his mandibles. Mars. He had studied the human star charts. It was a small red world where the humans had built mining colonies. How many ships? 47. Vessels, sir. All small. Nothing larger than a light cruiser. Their entire remaining fleet. The Admiral laughed, a sound like breaking glass. 47 ships against 800. The humans were either very brave or very stupid. Probably both. Any sign of their new weapons? The reports mentioned some kind of experimental technology. No, sir. All ships appear to be standard human design. Primitive fusion drives, simple plasma weapons. No match for our forces. Zexkar walked to the great window that covered the front of his bridge. Stars stretched out before him like tiny diamonds on black cloth. Soon, one of those stars would be the human sun. And when his fleet was done, that sun would shine down on a dead world. "Signal the fleet," he ordered. "Battle formation Delta. We advance in 1 hour." "Lieutenant Commander." Pete Johnson sat at his station aboard the Titan's hammer, watching the screens that showed space around them. The ship hung behind Earth's moon, hidden from the approaching alien fleet. All around him, the bridge hummed with quiet activity. 3,000 crew members, prepared for the battle that would decide everything. "Captain Roberts," Johnson said. "Long-range sensors are picking up the alien fleet. They're 2 days out and moving in standard attack formation." Roberts studied the tactical display. 800 red dots moved toward the inner system. Each dot represented a ship that could destroy a human city with 1 shot. But the computers were already analyzing their movements, finding patterns, learning their weaknesses. "Any change in their formation?" Roberts asked. "No, sir. They're still flying in the same patterns they used at the other colonies. They don't think we pose any real threat." Dr. Helen Cruz looked up from her science station. She was a small woman with bright eyes and quick hands. For 5 years, she had worked on the theoretical physics that made this ship possible. Now she would see if her theories worked in reality. "Captain," she said, "all our systems are showing green. The exotic matter reactors are stable. The dimensional phase drives are ready. The gravitational weapons are charged and waiting." Roberts nodded. He still did not fully understand how this ship worked. The science was beyond anything he had learned in flight school. But he trusted the people who had built it. Earth's best minds had created something impossible. Now it was time to see if impossible was enough. "Signal Earth Command," Roberts ordered. "Tell them we're ready." The message traveled instantly to the Pentagon's war room. General Hayes read it on his secure terminal. 3 words, ready for engagement. He closed his eyes and said a quiet prayer. Not to any particular god, but to the universe itself. Let this work, he thought. Let humanity's children live to see another day. Admiral Zexkar watched his fleet, spread out across the outer edge of the human solar system. His ships moved with perfect coordination, like a school of deadly fish. Each captain knew their role. Each vessel was positioned for maximum destruction. "Sir," Kex Ran reported, "we're now detecting the human defensive fleet near their 4th planet. They appear to be retreating toward their home world." "Of course they are," Zexkar said. "They know they cannot win. They're falling back to make their last stand at Earth. It will make no difference. The Admiral had seen this before. Species always tried to defend their home worlds. They gathered their remaining forces for one final battle. It never worked. Home-world defenses meant nothing against coalition firepower. "Sir, there's something else," Kexron said. His voice carried a note of confusion. "We're detecting a large mass signature behind their natural satellite. It appears to be ... artificial." Zexkar frowned. "A large artificial signature? Show me." The main screen changed to show a long-range scan of the area behind Earth's moon. At first, there was nothing. Then the computers enhanced the image, and something appeared. Something big. "By the seven suns," whispered Tactical Officer Vextai. "What is that thing?" On the screen was a ship, but it was like no ship any of them had ever seen. It was enormous, easily twice the size of the Coalition's largest battleship. Its dark hull seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Energy readings came from dozens of points along its surface. "Analysis," Zexkar demanded. "Sir, the computer cannot identify the design," Kexron replied. "The energy signature is unlike anything in our database. The materials appear to be ... impossible." "Nothing is impossible," Zexkar snarled. "It's just a big ship. Probably a cargo hauler they converted to carry more weapons. Size means nothing without proper technology." But even as he said it, the Admiral felt a small worm of doubt in his stomach. The ship did not look like anything the humans had built before. Where were the familiar fusion drives? Where were the standard weapon mounts? This thing looked alien, even to aliens. Captain Roberts gave the order that changed everything. "All hands, this is the captain. Take us out from behind the moon. Let them see what they're dealing with." The Titan's hammer moved with impossible grace for something so large. It did not push itself through space like normal ships. Instead, it seemed to fold space around itself, moving from one location to another without crossing the distance between. Johnson watched his sensors as they emerged from behind the moon. "Captain, the alien fleet has detected us. They're changing formation." On the tactical display, the red dots representing the Coalition fleet began to shift. Ships that had been spread out for planetary bombardment now moved to surround the single human vessel. 800 ships against one. "Sir," Johnson continued, "we're receiving a transmission from the alien flagship." "Put it on screen," Roberts ordered. Admiral Zexkar's image appeared on the main viewer. The alien commander's four arms moved. In what humans had learned was a gesture of contempt. His mandibles clicked rapidly as he spoke. "Human commander," Zexkar said, "you will surrender immediately or face annihilation. Your resistance ends today." Roberts stood up from his command chair. Around him, his crew worked at their stations with calm efficiency. 3,000 humans who had trained for this moment their entire lives. "Coalition fleet," Roberts replied. "You are hereby ordered to withdraw from human space immediately. This is your only warning." Zexkar's image flickered with what might have been amusement. "A single primitive vessel dares threaten my entire armada? Human, you will learn the price of arrogance." The alien admiral made a gesture, and his image disappeared. Immediately, the Coalition fleet began to move. 800 ships maneuvered to surround the Titan's hammer. Weapon ports opened along their hulls. Energy began to build in their guns. Dr. Cruz checked her readings one more time. "Captain, their weapons are charging." Massive energy buildup across their entire fleet. "They're preparing to fire everything they have." Roberts looked around his bridge. These people had left their families, their homes, their entire lives to be here. They had volunteered to crew a ship that might explode the moment they turned on its engines. They had bet everything on human science and human courage. "All stations, prepare for combat," Roberts ordered. "Show them what humanity can do." The space between the fleets crackled with tension. On one side, 800 ships representing the most powerful military force in the galaxy. On the other side, one impossible vessel, crewed by 3,000 humans who refused to surrender. Admiral. Zexkar raised his hand to give the order to fire. In a few seconds, enough energy to crack a moon would streak toward the human ship. The primitives would learn that courage meant nothing against superior firepower. But as he prepared to drop his hand, something made him pause. The human ship was not trying to run. It was not calling for help. It just hung there in space, waiting, as if it wanted the coalition to attack first. "Sir," Vextai said quietly, "something feels wrong about this." Zexkar looked at his tactical. "Officer, in 300 battles, Vextai had never been wrong about danger. His instincts had saved their lives more than once." "What do you mean?" the Admiral asked. "The humans know they cannot win with conventional weapons," Vextai replied. "They know our technology is superior. So why are they not afraid? Why do they challenge us so boldly?" For a moment, doubt crept into Zexkar's mind, but then he pushed it away. The coalition had conquered 47 species. They had never been defeated. Fear was making him see problems where none existed. "Fire," he ordered. 800 ships opened fire at once. 800 ships fired at once. The space around the Titan's hammer filled with death. Red energy beams streaked through the darkness like lightning. Quantum torpedoes exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Plasma cannons sent waves of burning gas toward the human ship. It was enough firepower to destroy a moon. Admiral Zexkar watched the attack with satisfaction. No ship could survive that much destruction. The humans had been brave, but bravery meant nothing against the weapons of the coalition. In a few seconds, the primitive vessel would be nothing but glowing debris. But seconds passed, and the human ship was still there. "What?" Zexkar whispered. On his tactical screen, the Titan's hammer hung in space exactly where it had been before. The massive barrage of weapons fire that should have vaporized, it had simply disappeared. There was no explosion, no debris. No sign that 800 ships had just fired their most powerful weapons. "Sir," Navigation Officer Kexron said, his voice shaking, "the human vessel appears to be undamaged. Our weapons ... I had no effect. Impossible." Zexkar roared. "Nothing can survive that kind of attack. Check your sensors." Chief Weapons Officer Carl Davis smiled as he watched his control panel aboard the Titan's hammer. All around the ship, energy readings were climbing. The alien weapons had hit their target perfectly. But instead of destroying the ship, something incredible was happening. "Captain Roberts," Davis reported, "their weapons are actually charging our systems. The zero-point energy converters are working exactly as designed. We're pulling power directly from their attacks." Roberts stared at a display screen. Where normal shields would have tried to stop the enemy fire, the Titan's hammer's defenses were doing something else entirely. They were absorbing the energy and converting it into power for their own systems. "How much power are we gaining?" Roberts asked. "Enough to run the ship for a year, sir. Their weapons are making us stronger." Dr. Helen Cruz looked up from her science station with excitement in her eyes. "Captain, the adaptive shielding is performing beyond our wildest predictions. We're not just absorbing their energy weapons. We're learning from them. The shields are adapting to become more efficient with each hit." Roberts had seen the science reports, but seeing it work in reality was something else entirely. For 5 years, Earth's best scientists had worked on this technology. They had broken the laws of physics as everyone understood them. They had created something that should not exist, and it was working. "Sir," Lieutenant Commander Johnson reported from his sensor station, "the alien fleet is showing signs of confusion. Their formation is starting to break apart." I don't think they understand what's happening. Admiral Zexkar felt something he had not experienced in 300 years of warfare. Fear. Real, cold fear that started in his stomach and spread through his entire body. His weapons had done nothing to the human ship. Worse than nothing. The vessel's energy readings were actually higher than before the attack. Analysis, he demanded. How are they doing this? Tactical Officer Vex Tai worked frantically at his station. Sir, our computers cannot explain what we're seeing. The human ship appears to be converting our weapon energy into power for their own systems. This should be impossible according to all known science. Fire again, Zexkar ordered. All ships, maximum power. The Coalition fleet fired a second. Barrage. This time they used their most powerful weapons. Gravity bombs that could crack continents. Antimatter torpedoes that could destroy space stations. Energy beams hot enough to melt steel from 1,000 kilometers away. Again, the human ship absorbed everything they threw at it. Captain, Davis announced, we're now at 300% normal power levels. All weapon systems are fully charged. Should I return fire? Roberts looked around his bridge. 3,000 crew members had trained for this moment. Earth's children were depending on them. It was time to show the galaxy what humanity could really do. Fire, Roberts ordered. What happened next changed warfare forever. The Titan's hammer did not fire energy beams or missiles. Instead, it reached out with invisible hands that could bend the fabric of space itself. Gravitational lances stretched across the void, focused points of gravity so intense they could crush matter into neutron soup. Admiral Zexkar watched in horror as the space around his ships began to twist and warp. 3 of his cruisers suddenly compressed into balls of metal no bigger than marbles. The gravity wells that formed around them were so powerful that light itself could not escape. Evasive maneuvers, he screamed into his communicator. All ships scatter formation, but it was too late. The human ship moved like nothing the Coalition had ever seen. It did not push through space like normal vessels. Instead, it seemed to exist in multiple places at once, folding space around itself to appear wherever it wanted to be. Commander Rick Foster coordinated the weapon systems from the Titan's Hammer's combat center. The ship's main guns did not fire projectiles or energy. They manipulated the basic forces of the universe itself. Gravity, time, space, and matter bent to human will. Target the battleship group on the left flank, Foster ordered. Gravitational compression, full power. Space twisted around a formation of Coalition battleships. The massive vessels, each one larger than anything humanity had built before this. Day, crumpled like paper balls in a giant's fist. Their shields meant nothing against weapons that attacked the very foundation of reality. Sir, his gunner reported, 12 enemy vessels destroyed. The rest of that formation is breaking apart. Foster switched to the tactical display. The Coalition fleet was in chaos. Ships scattered in all directions, trying to escape weapons they could not understand. But the Titan's hammer was everywhere at once, striking from impossible angles. Time. Dilation field, Sector 7. Foster commanded. Dr. Nancy Wright watched from the ship's laboratory as their experimental technology exceeded every prediction. The dimensional phase drive was working perfectly, allowing them to fight the battle from multiple points in space and time simultaneously. The temporal displacement is holding steady, she reported to the bridge. We're fighting this battle from 17 different dimensional phases. The enemy can't track our real position because we don't have just one position. To the Coalition fleet, it seemed like the human ship was everywhere and nowhere. It would appear behind a group of ships, destroy them with impossible weapons, and then vanish before they could return fire. When they did manage to target it, their weapons passed harmlessly through empty space. Admiral Zexkar tried to rally his fleet, but panic was spreading through his forces like wildfire. Ships that had conquered 100 worlds were running in terror from a single human vessel. "Sir," Kexran reported, "we've lost 63 ships in the last 10 minutes. The humans are using weapons that don't exist. They're bending space itself." A gravitational wave swept past the Crimson Dominion, and Zexkar felt the ship shake. Even his flagship, the most powerful vessel in the Coalition fleet, groaned under forces it was never designed to handle. "How is this possible?" he whispered. The answer came from Tactical Officer Vex Tai, who had been analyzing the battle data. "Sir, the humans have somehow learned to manipulate fundamental forces. Gravity, time, space itself. They're not just using advanced technology. They're using physics as a weapon." Another Coalition battle group vanished in a twist of distorted space. The human ship appeared in the center of Zexkar's formation, weapons that defied reality, destroying cruisers and destroyers with casual ease. "All ships," Zexkar ordered, his voice breaking. "Retreat, full retreat. Get us out of here." Captain Roberts watched the alien fleet scatter on his tactical display. In less than an hour, the most powerful military force in the galaxy had been broken by a single human ship. 68 enemy vessels destroyed, the rest fleeing in terror. "Sir," Johnson reported, "the alien flagship is sending a transmission." "Put it through," Roberts ordered. Admiral Zexkar's image appeared on the screen. The proud alien commander looked old and defeated. His forearms shook as he spoke. "Human vessel." Zexkar said, We yelled, "Please, no more killing." Roberts looked at the alien who had burned human worlds and enslaved human children. Part of him wanted to destroy every Coalition ship in the system. But that was not why humanity had built this ship. "Admiral," Roberts replied, "you came here to destroy my people. You thought we were weak. You thought we were primitives. You are wrong." "Yes," Zexkar whispered. "We were wrong. We did not know. We did not understand." "You will leave this system immediately," Roberts continued. "You will never return to human space. And you will spread word throughout the galaxy. Humanity is not prey. We are not victims. We are not weak." The alien admiral nodded quickly. "It will be done. The Coalition will never trouble your people again. See that it doesn't," Roberts said. "Because next time, we might not be so merciful." The transmission ended. Within an hour, the remaining Coalition ships had jumped to faster than light speed, fleeing the Sol system like frightened animals. Dr. Cruz looked at her readings one more time. "Captain, all systems are stable. The exotic matter reactors are running smoothly. We could fight 10 more battles like this one." Roberts nodded, but one battle had been enough. Word of this victory would spread across the galaxy faster than any ship could travel. The news spread across the galaxy faster than starlight. On 1,000 worlds, beings who had lived under Coalition rule for centuries watched the battle recordings in stunned silence. The impossible had happened. The mighty Zirathi Empire had been defeated by a single human ship. On the water world of Aquanis, the blue-skinned Kelrani gathered in their floating cities to watch the recordings. Elder Sixara had lived through the Coalition conquest of her people 50 years ago. She remembered the fear, the submission, the endless tribute demanded by their alien masters. "Is it real?" asked her daughter Nixara. "Did the humans really destroy 68 Coalition ships?" "The recordings don't lie," Sixara replied. "I have seen Coalition weapons destroying moons, but this human ship, it ate their weapons like food. It bent space itself. It fought like the gods of old stories." Similar conversations were happening on every world the Coalition had conquered. The Vorthic miners on the crystal planets stopped their work to watch. The insect-like Zephyrians in their hive cities buzzed with excitement. For the first time in generations, it was hoped that Admiral Zexkar's fleet limped back to Zirathi space. Like wounded animals, half his ships were gone. The other half carried crews who would never be the same. They had seen their most powerful weapons become useless. They had watched reality itself bend to human will. The Zirathi home world received. The fleet in silence. No victory parades. No celebration songs. Just the quiet shame of a people who had thought themselves invincible. Emperor Kraxith called an emergency meeting of the War Council. The ancient ruler had conquered more worlds than any Zirathi in history. His palace was built from the bones of defeated enemies. His throne room displayed the flags of 47 conquered species. "Explain," the Emperor commanded, as Zexkar entered the throne room. The Admiral's forearms shook as he spoke. "Your Majesty, the humans have technology beyond our understanding. They use physics itself as a weapon. Our ships, our shields, our weapons. None of it matters against them. One ship defeated 800? Kraxeth's voice was deadly quiet. Yes, Your Majesty, and they have more." The human captain spoke as if this vessel was just the beginning. "They have built an entire fleet using this impossible technology." The Emperor's mandibles clicked slowly. In 3,000 years, the Zirathi had never faced defeat. They had crushed every enemy, conquered every challenger. But now they faced something they had never encountered before, a species more advanced than themselves. "Send word to all coalition worlds," Kraxith ordered. "Full withdrawal from human space. No ship is to approach their territory without explicit permission. And prepare an embassy." Captain Roberts stood on the observation deck of the Titan's Hammer as it entered Earth orbit. Below him, the blue and green world that had given birth to humanity turned slowly in space. Cities sparkled like stars on the night side. Ships moved between Earth and its space stations in endless streams. "Captain," came a voice behind him. He turned to see General Hayes, who had come up from Earth to meet the returning ship. "General," Roberts said, "welcome aboard." Hayes looked around the observation deck with wonder. "I've read the reports, but seeing the ship in person... It's incredible. You really did it. You saved us all." "We all did it," Roberts replied. "Every person who worked on this project. Every scientist who thought the impossible. Every engineer who made it real. We did it together." The general nodded. "The president wants to meet with you. Congress is calling for celebrations. The whole world wants to honor the crew of the Titan's Hammer." Roberts smiled. "Later, General. Right now, we have more important work to do." Down on Earth, Dr. Maria Lopez was preparing for the most important meeting in human history. As Earth's chief xenobiologist, she had studied every known alien species. Now she would be the first human to negotiate with former enemies as equals. The Zirathi embassy ship arrived 3 days later. It was a small, unarmed vessel flying the white flag of peace. Ambassador Krytex stepped onto the space station with obvious fear. His people had ruled the galaxy for millennia. Now they came as supplicants to a species they had tried to destroy. "Ambassador," Dr. Lopez said as she welcomed the alien delegation, "humanity seeks peaceful coexistence with all galactic species." Krytex's translator turned his clicking speech into human words. "Dr. Lopez, my people acknowledge our error. We thought your species was primitive. We were wrong. Catastrophically wrong. The past is behind us," Lopez replied. "What matters now is the future. Humanity offers friendship to all who come in peace. But we will not tolerate aggression against our people or our allies." The negotiations lasted 2 weeks. In the end, the Zirathi Empire agreed to terms that would have been unthinkable a month earlier. complete withdrawal from human space, recognition of human sovereignty. Most importantly, acknowledgement that the age of coalition dominance was over. Word of the peace treaty spread quickly. On worlds across the galaxy, beings who had suffered under coalition rule began to speak of independence. The Kulrani declared their freedom from Zirathi control. The Vorthic mining guilds refused to send tribute to their former masters. The insect swarms of Zephyr announced they would govern themselves. Admiral Patricia Stone stood in the command center of Earth's newest space station. Around her, holographic displays showed the changing galaxy. Green dots marked worlds that had declared independence. Blue dots showed new human allies. Red dots marked the shrinking coalition territory. "Ma'am," reported Commander Tony Lee, "we're receiving membership applications for the Terran Alliance. 47 species so far, with more coming in every day." Stone smiled. The Terran Alliance had been her idea. Not an empire built on conquest, but a partnership built on mutual respect. Any species could join if they agreed to the basic principles. No slavery, no genocide, no wars of conquest. "What about the coalition worlds?" Stone asked. "Many are asking for protection," Lee replied. "The Zirathi Empire is falling apart. Local governors are declaring independence. Some are asking for human peacekeepers to maintain order." It was ironic, Stone thought. The coalition had tried to destroy humanity. Now they were begging for human protection. Captain Sam Roberts, now promoted to Admiral of the Fleet, reviewed the construction reports from shipyards across human space. The impossible technology of the Titan's hammer was being studied, understood, and reproduced. Earth scientists worked day and night to build a new fleet using their reality-bending discoveries. "How many ships will be ready by next month?" Roberts asked Chief Engineer Watson. 12, sir. Not as large as the Titan's hammer, but just as advanced. Enough to patrol the major trade routes and protect our new allies." Roberts nodded. The galaxy was changing fast. Every day brought new challenges. Pirate groups trying to take advantage of the chaos. Rogue coalition commanders who refused to accept the new order. Desperate species asking for help against ancient enemies. But humanity was ready. They had proven they could defend themselves. Now they would prove they could defend others. Dr. Helen Cruz published her research papers to scientists across the galaxy. For the first time, the secrets of dimensional physics and gravitational manipulation were shared freely. Some species were shocked by the complexity. Others began their own research programs. "Are you sure about this?" Roberts asked her. "Sharing our most advanced technology?" "Knowledge belongs to everyone," Cruz replied. "Besides, it will take most species decades to understand what we've discovered, and by then, we'll have learned even more." The Titan's hammer became the flagship of humanity's growing fleet. Its impossible weapons and reality-bending drives patrolled space lanes that had once been dominated by coalition warships. Pirates learned to fear the sight of its dark hull. Slavers fled when human ships appeared on their sensors. 1 year after a battle, Robert stood once again on the observation deck of his ship. But now he was not alone. Ambassador Crytex stood beside him, along with representatives from a dozen other species. They were returning from a peace conference on the neutral world of Haven. "Your people have changed the galaxy," Crytex said, through his translator. "Not through conquest, but through example. The Zirathi Empire ruled through fear. The Terran Alliance leads through hope." Roberts watched the stars outside the window. Each point of light represented worlds where beings lived and dreamed and hoped for better lives. Many of those worlds now flew the banner of the Terran Alliance. Not because they were forced to, but because they chose to. "Ambassador," Roberts said, "the galaxy is large enough for all of us. Human, Zirathi, Kelrani, VORTHAK ... We're all just people trying to make our way among the stars. The alien ambassador's mandibles clicked in what Roberts had learned was agreement. Yes, Admiral. And perhaps that is the most important lesson of all. As the Titan's hammer moved through space, folding reality around itself in ways that still amazed its crew, the galaxy continued to change. Old empires crumbled. New alliances formed. And at the center of it all, the species that had once seemed so primitive now guided the stars toward a future none of them could have imagined. The humans had proven something important that day when 800 ships had fled from one. They had shown that strength was not about having the biggest weapons or the largest fleet. True strength came from ingenuity,